Hello, everybody. Hi, good to be with you all. Joining you all from the Seattle, Washington area. So it's a little early for me, but a little late for you all. My name is Carlos Galeana, and I am the presenter for today's Canva workshop. So really great to be with you all. We have a couple of things for you after class. We have a slideshow that you will get a copy of, and then you'll also get a resource list of a collection of articles and videos to kind of help you complete projects. Just a little bit about me. I've been teaching technology classes at the public libraries and nonprofit organizations out here in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm just really excited just to bring this program all the way to Connecticut. So really good to be with you all. I'm really excited just to share some of the cool tips and tricks that I've kind of learned over the years. I'm going to be pausing a few times, and that will give you a chance to raise your hand for a little bit of Q&A. My colleague Amanda with Darien Library, she's going to be kind of looking out for those hand raises, raised hands. The way I will start is I want to give you a preview of some tools that have, in my opinion, have been really beneficial to me in my work. And we'll also give you a good overview of Canva. But before, I wanted to show you a little bit about PowerPoint, actually, just really briefly about PowerPoint, and then Google Slides and Google Drawing, and then we'll go on to Canva. And this is a copy of the slideshow that you'll be getting with after class. Some of the benefits of Canva, some drawbacks, some cool things that you could think about. But first, we're going to start off with PowerPoint. So just really wanted to stress that you could actually use PowerPoint for free, and you don't need to purchase the desktop version of PowerPoint. You can use the web version, and all you need is a Microsoft account, which is an Outlook account or Hotmail. And all you have to do is just go to outlook.com, and it looks something like this when you log in with your accounts. And then you could go to the 9 dots that are just right over here on the left corner. Some people call it the waffle. It's right next to the Outlook logo. And here you could use some of the Microsoft apps. And then I'm going to choose PowerPoint. And PowerPoint, you know, when we think about PowerPoint, we think about slideshows and presentations. But you could actually do some really cool like flyers with it. You could do training manuals. You could do a flyer with it. So I'm going to start off with a blank presentation. And here it is. It's this, you know, the traditional horizontal layout of a slideshow. And what you could do is you could change the appearance of it, or kind of the layout of it. So if you go over to, let me look that up really fast here. I think it's around here somewhere. Design, there we go. If you go over to the design tab, you can go to slide size, and you could actually change the way it looks. Right now it's on white screen. So if you go to custom slide size, here's where you could change the measurements. So you could do it in portrait format. And then if you do the drop down, there's a whole bunch of other measurements here. Like if you're going to print out a printed on traditional 8.5 by 11 paper, you could do it from here. You can also do custom, and then you can enter your own measurements as well. So I'll just do 8.5 by 11. Perfect. Do portrait. Let me try that again. And there we go. So now it is upright, and then you can work on your project here. If you go to insert, there's all kinds of cool things that you can apply to your project. So there's icons, and icons is the new version of like clip art from back in the old days. Anything with a diamond is part of the premium features that you do have to pay for, but you can see that there's a whole bunch of icons here that you can incorporate for free. And then there's also shapes. So if you go to shapes, you can add all kinds of icons here as well, and you can give it any color you want. Before I go any further, I'm just going to go ahead and just show you, I'm going to do kind of like a little demonstration of a project. And we're going to do it in different ways, but I am very fond of tigers and I love tigers. So the World Wildlife Foundation does a lot of work in conservation. So I'm going to try to do a flyer to help promote this cause. So I'm going to just copy this header, come back to my project here, and then I could just do Control V or Command V to paste. There we go. And just move this over. And then if I click on the text box, I could go home and then I could change the font style. So there's all kinds of font styles that you can choose from. Here we go, I'll choose Rockwell. And it's kind of plain looking right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do insert, icons, and I'll just type, let's see, Asia. And then I could add this globe that has the Asian continent there. And then I get the little globe, and I'm making it bigger just by going to these little dots here. And then right now it's a black color, so I could actually change the way the globe looks by going back home. And if I click on it, there's these 3 dots, and then I can go to shape fill. I can go to the paint bucket, give it like an orange color. And I could put like a little tiger in the background. So one of the cool things that you can do is go to like an image library and you can get free photos for your project. I personally always like to use my photos, my personal photos that I take with my phone or with my camera. But if you're in need of some pictures, you can go to this website called Pixabay, and it's spelled Pixabay. You'll get this resource in the resource list. Another good one could be Pexels, and that's spelled Pexels. And then another one is Unsplash. So you can also get resources from your images. So let's go to Pixabay, and I'm just going to type tigers. And then you can see that you have a whole bunch of images that you can choose from. Some are kind of like cartoons, some are high definition photos. All these photos up here are through iStock, and these are not free. You would have to pay for these images up here. If you go further down, though, there's a whole bunch of images, though, that you can try. Let's try this one. So when you look at it, you could just download without creating accounts. But if you do create an account, you can use your Gmail account, and you can see that it says free for commercial use, no attribution required. And I'm just going to go ahead and download it. And here's the size of the file. I'm going to just stay with that. And then just confirm that I am not a robot. Click on the cross box. I think I got them all. And then it just saves it to my computer. Now, if I do the same search on Pexels, I get a different set of photos. So if I do tigers, there's a whole different set of photos that I could choose from. And you just want to make sure you read the licensing of the photo. So they all have kind of different criteria that you just want to be familiar with. So let's say I want this one. I can just do a download, and it's downloading. Perfect. And then you can learn more under info. This is where they have the licensing information. Free to use, no attribution required. Okay, coming back to my PowerPoint project, all I have to do now is do insert, and then pictures, and then from device. And then it's going to dig into my computer. I'm going to go to my downloads. Here's a couple of photos. I'll just do this one here. Yeah, and so here's my photo. And I could just make this a little bit bigger. And just move it around a little bit. And I could move the globe a little bit, just make it a little bit smaller. And I'll just leave it as is right there. I could even change the way the text looks. Right now it's black, so I could just go to this A color, and I could just go maybe like, I'll go white. And then I'll do insert. And then I could do insert shapes. I could just do like a rectangle right now, or like a square. Right now the square is blue. I could just make it look kind of big here. And then I can go to the paint bucket and then make it black. And then do a right click and then send to back. And what this does, it kind of creates, puts that shape that I put, and it sends it to the back end. And all I had to do was just do a right click, send to back. If I do a right click, bring to front, it kind of brings that shape on top of the other text that I had. So right click, send to back, and there we go. That's my project. And if I'm happy with it, now what I could do is it auto saves into my OneDrive account, so I could just close it, open my email again. But if I'm happy with it, I could just go to File, Save As, and then I could download it to my computer. I could download it as a PowerPoint file, or I could download it as a PDF. I could also download it as a picture, as a JPEG. So then I could put this on Facebook, or I could put this on my website. Really pretty much anything that I would want to do with it. So I'm just going to do download it as images, download, and it's downloading. Perfect. I'm going to go to my downloads, which is down here in my computer. See if I can open it. It's called presentation. I probably should have called it something. And this is my project. So initially I did it on PowerPoint. You know, it's a tool that's traditionally known for presentations and slideshows, but you could do projects like that on PowerPoint. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. So that is PowerPoint. I'll just close this out. I'm going to do a similar project, but this time I'm going to do it through Google Slides. So all you have to do is just go through your Gmail, and then you go to your 9 dots, and then you go to Google Slides. And if you don't have it here, it's this little goldenrod color. You can always start it from Google Drive, which is this little triangle. It kind of looks like a recycling symbol. And I see that there's more questions there. I'll pause here in a minute. So if I do new, Google Slides, and then again, we have that traditional slideshow layout, right? Which is like a horizontal landscape look. So what I want to do is I could go to File, Page Setup, and then I change it. I could do custom. So here I could type, 8.5 by 11 inches, or I could do, 1080 by 1080 pixels. I could do that as well. So I'll just do 8.5 by 11 inches. Oops, didn't do that right. File, Page Setup, 8.5 by 11 inches, apply. There we go. So I'll do a similar project like I did earlier. You know, save a tiger. And then I'm going to choose a different font this time. There's Arial, so I like this permanent marker one. I don't see it here, so if I go to more fonts, I can add more fonts to it. So there's a whole bunch of fonts that you can choose from. And I like this permanent marker one, so let's see if I could find it. There it is. And I could just press OK. So just because you don't see it on the list, you can do more fonts and you can get more on there. And this time I'm going to add a picture. So I'm going to do insert image, and then I could choose it from my Google Drive or my Google Photos. I'm going to do upload from my computer. And I'm going to do downloads, and I'm going to look for those photos from those image libraries. So here's this one to open. And you could see that the image itself is kind of like it's really rectangular in shape, and I kind of want to change its layout or look. So here is the little crop tool, which has this kind of like a L and an upside down L. There's a little drop down arrow, and then this gives you the chance to crop the photo, but using a different kind of shape. So I'm going to choose this one that has like these soft kind of rounded corners. See, you can also do other ones too. So if I do the drop down, I could do arrow, or I could do call out. So I'm just going to do rounded corners. And I'll do that here. Just move that there. And I could just give it like a different background if I want to. So if I go to background, I could choose image. I'll just choose like an orange color. And I can move this over to the top a little bit. And you can add more shapes into it. So if I do insert shapes, and I can add more icons here, different things I would want to add. And it all saves automatically. So let's say I was done with this project. Let's say I was happy with it. All I have to do is just go to File, and then go down to Download. And then I could download it in various formats. I could download it in PowerPoint, or I could download it in JPEG format or PNG. Just these are different like image types, or I could do PDF. I'll just do PNG. There we go. And then I can open it, and that is my project. Oh, and yeah, it looks like my colleague Amanda, she put the links to those image libraries on the chat. Terrific. Q&A. See, why would you choose? So the question is, why would you choose Google Slides as opposed to PowerPoint? I think it's just one of those things that you would have just different options. So you could choose, if PowerPoint works best for you or for your company, then just stick to PowerPoint. If Google Slides works best for you or for your kids' school, then use Google Slides. There's some things that I kind of like on one platform versus another platform. So one example is, I think Google Slides, personally for me, it's a little easier to use. However, I kind of like some of the design features that are in PowerPoint, and particularly the icons that I mentioned. So they have like built-in clip art that is really nice looking and really professional looking, while Google Slides does not have that built-in clip art component. And then another question is, how do you decide which platform to use? So a couple of factors. One is that these tools are free to use. if you're working on something for work, just try to see what is best for your work project or for your company or for your kid's school. Like start off there. If both factors are not that important, then personally, I think just try the one that kind of works best for you, the one that you feel like more comfortable with, and just know that you can have the other tool in your back pocket. So for me personally, I am mostly in the Google environment, like Google Slides at home for my home projects. I created the slideshow that I'm going to share with you all through Google Slides. My work that I do from like 9 to 5 is exclusively on the Microsoft environment. So I always use PowerPoint whenever it's work related. The PowerPoint tool, you can also work on your slideshow. If you have a tablet or iPhone, you could just download the Office app. You could work on it there. You can also use the Google Slides app on your iPhone or your Android device. Yes, so another question is, can you save your Google Slide as a PowerPoint and then use the additional features there? Yes, that is correct. The only there might be like some formatting issues, and particularly the shapes. So I'll show you where you kind of would run into trouble. So if I share my screen again, really great questions. Thank you, everybody. So you're going to run into trouble a little bit if you do, one is the font. So this font is really like specialized, so it might not get the same type of font on PowerPoint, but you might run into trouble a little bit if you go to insert diagram and use some of these Google diagrams. They might look a little funny on if you convert them into PowerPoint. Other than that, you can start off like my friend was saying, you can start off on Google Slides, file, download, and open it in PowerPoint format. And then you could do it that way. Awesome. So really quickly, I'm going to show you one more tool and then we'll get to Canva. So thank you all for your patience. Again, back on Google Drive, if you go to New, go to More, and go to Google Drawing. You could think of Google Drawing as a kind of online version of Microsoft Publisher. It's kind of very basic, but you could do something really, you could do a lot of sophisticated things on here. It doesn't look like much right now. You see this like checkered background that's indicating that it's like transparent. It doesn't look much right now, but you could do a whole lot with it. My previous workplace would do all their flyers on here, and then they would share the files with the employees and they could just make copies of them. So it was a really quick way to do stuff really quickly. So I'll do kind of something similar here. So the way my old workplace would do it is they would, again, go to File, Page Setup, and then you could change the size of the paper, basically, or the print, custom, 8.5 by 11 inches. And then you could see that now it's ready to be printed on a traditional printer. And then what they would do for their flyers is they would do like a text box, and they would do that here. And you could just, call it, Save a Tiger again. And it's pretty small, but if you do a rotator, so they would do this rotate. And Save a Tiger was like the name of their program, for example. And then they would color the rectangle here. So right now it's transparent. So they would do the paint bucket and do any color they want. And if it was like a computer class, it would have like a blue color. If it was like a program for children, it would have like an orange color. So you could choose like a different color schemes. And they would change the color of the text here. And here's your alignment tool. So you can go to the center alignment. You can make this even bigger. Let's see, I'm going to just change the size. There we go. And they would kind of put it in the bottom So that was like the name of the program, and they would put their picture. So if I do insert image, upload from computer, this one, you could just do like that. And then do a right click, order, send to back. And I realize this is kind of speedy a little bit. My colleague Amanda is recording this presentation, so you can rewatch it at another time. And then you can put information about your event or your program here. And one of the cool things about these shapes that you can work with is that you can actually type on the shapes. So if you put a circle, you can actually do a double left click in the circle and type something. So you could type, you know, like number 1, if you're doing like a guide, you know, number 1, number 2, number 3, or you could do, you know, like help now. And right now it's like this bluish color. So you can go to the paint bucket and then change the color of the text and do permanent marker again, kind of like that font. And change the size. And then kind of center alignment, and like kind of that's like the kind of flyer there. So if I was to download this, I could again go File, Download, PNG. It's like a picture. And here it is. There it is. That's my project. So I could do a better job of naming these files, and they're right up here and they're untitled. So I just wanted to show you those free tools that you can use. You can also download the apps on your phone, with the exception of Google Drawing. Google Drawing does not have an app for your phone. So just pause there. And again, you'll get a copy of this slideshow, and you could kind of get an overview of those tools. But now we're going to switch gears and go over to Canva. So Canva has been around for, I think, since around 2015 or so. That's kind of when I noticed it was kind of gaining traction. There's some drawbacks, and I think these are the kind of the 3 main drawbacks. One is that it's really reliant on like a steady internet connection. Some of the more stylish, fancier templates do cost money. And if you're working on the free version of Canva and you're like doing your project and you want to change the size, you have to pay for that resizing feature. So like on my PowerPoint and my Google Slides projects, I could just resize anytime I want. But here I would have to pay for that. But there's a whole lot of benefits. So there's no installation required. You could choose from hundreds of templates and images. You can also have Canva on your iPhone, your Android device. There's always new stuff on there. My personal favorite is I really like the fact that it has these project measurements and dimensions. So if I want to post something on Facebook or LinkedIn, it always tells me what's the right measurement, and I don't have to, you know, do research on that. You can also upload your personal photos and just have them like they're available for yourself to use. Like PowerPoint and Google Slides, it also does the autosave, and it also has social media templates as well, friendly templates. I see that there's a question or on the chat. We'll get to it here in just a minute. So all you have to do to get started is go to canva.com and create an account. You can use your Facebook account or your Gmail or Apple account, or you could just use any email account to get started. And once you get logged in, it looks something like this. You get these suggestions for templates, right? And here is your recent projects. I don't have anything recent on here. And then there's trash. Trash is like your projects that you have discarded. And if you want to create a new project, all you have to do is just do create a design, and then choose from any of these layouts. Now, as I hover over these, it tells you the measurements. So if I go over to Instagram posts, that's 1080 by 1080 pixels. So I'll start there. And you can see that it's just loading here on the web. And then I get all these kind of templates and suggestions. And anything with a crown is not free. Anything without the crown is free to work on. You see that there's a couple there. You start off with a blank slate. So I'll just go ahead and let's start with this one here. It says goodbye March. And you see that as I hover over it, there's these kind of like blue boxes that kind of illuminate. These are just like the text boxes in our previous examples. And all I could do is just, just click there if I want to, and then I could just backspace or delete, and then I could just do, again, save a tiger. Whenever you're trying to like learn something new, whether that's like Canva or, PowerPoint, anything like that, I would always suggest try to do it on something that perhaps isn't work related or isn't related to your school. Just try to do something for fun, because that gives you the chance or that freedom to like make mistakes. So that's why I kind of had like the save a tiger thing, because it's something like I care about, but it's not really related to my work or anything like that. So I could just kind of have a little bit more fun with it. And then right here it says March. So all I have to do is just click there. And then I just type the word tiger. And it's really big. It's really big. So all I have to do is just kind of select this. And then here's the font size, excuse me. And I could just make it into like, I don't know, 72 or something. Nah, it's still a little big. I'll choose just like 48. And I could just move things around. I could also use my arrows on my keyboard as well to move things around. And backspace. There is a zoom function on here too, like zoom in. So that's down here in the bottom where you see like 29%. I could, if I move this little toggle over a little bit closer, that helps me kind of get right above those boxes there. If I go to the 3 dots, I can also lock the items. So if I'm doing work on other parts of this project, it doesn't like, I don't accidentally like move it or anything like that. It's also responsive to copy and paste. So if you do Control-C and Control-V on here, it's responsive to those commands. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And it has this green photo that's really pretty, but I'm going to just change it. Give me a sec. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And I could just backspace or delete. Let me just delete this photo. There we go. The photo is gone. The text is still there. You just can't see it because it's white. So what I want to do next is I could do uploads. And uploads is this little cloud icon. And this gives you the chance to put in your own personal photos or photos from Pixabay or Pixels or Unsplash. I'm going to go ahead and do upload. And then you can choose your projects. So let's do this one. Open. It's uploading. And then I could just drag it over. See? I could just do that. Or I could just backspace this for now, delete that. I can go to elements, and elements gives you the chance to add other things onto it. So it could be lines, it could be charts, it could be kind of like cartoon graphics, it could be other pictures. I like this thing called frames. So if I search for, if I click here and do frames, frames is just like the way the word sounds, it's like a picture frame. So you could see that there's all kinds of different frames. One is like a frame of a computer. So if you're doing like a demonstration, you might want to have the computer icon, or this one that kind of looks like scribbly lines on it. I'm gonna do that one. So I'm just gonna drag it over. And then you could see that it has this like kind of country landscape background, right? And there's a cloud there. That is just simply like a placeholder, just kind of holding it in place. So if I go back to uploads, I could get my tiger photo and then just drag it and drop it in there. And you could see that now it has the background there of the kind of marker look. And lastly, I'm going to do one more thing and I'll pause. I see that there's a few questions on the chat. There's more, and then you could do background. And then you could choose a different background. And again, some of these are not free. So let's see if I choose this one here, you can see that this one has these little hash marks on it. So these hash marks are some of the paid, so some of the images that you would have to pay for. So I'll just backspace that. And if you do decide to pay for that, by all means. So I'll just do black. There we go. And I could just move this over. And I could just make this a little bit bigger, going to the font size again. Maybe a lot bigger. And again, there's a lot of like experimentation here. As I move it around, there's these like little purple markers that appear, and that's kind of helping me be aligned, kind of centered. And I feel like it's missing one more thing. So this is one of the cool features about Canva, is if I go back to my website, this website that's kind of a call to action, right? I could just copy the address. And then if I go back to Canva, here it is. And again, it's still auto saving, so I don't have to worry about doing a file save or anything like that. I could type, I can go to more, I believe. I could just, if I'm not seeing what I'm looking for, I could just type it in. But here it is, it's called a QR code. So I could just do Control V or Command V to paste it, generate the code. And then I could create a code. So when people scan it, it goes straight to the website for them to offer help. Yes, and then if you apply, if you work for a nonprofit, you can apply for a nonprofit account. Thank you. So if you do get Canva on, your phone or your tablet, just know that it is a little different from the web version. They have like different tools on there. Like the basics are the same in terms of frames and all that stuff, but there are different choices. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's not a apples to apples experience as the one you would experience on the website. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Okay, I think that's a little bit better, I hope. So let's say I was happy with this project, right? Then I could just do share. And then I could download it. So then I could just download it and then save it to my computer. Or I could also share with other Canva users as well. So if I'm working on a project, that they can also work on it as well. So you see how it has the resize tool up here. Let's see if I could zoom in for you. It's right there. And it has that crown. Again, it's like you would have to pay for it. So if I change my mind and I didn't want this Instagram look to it, then I would have to pay for that. So just kind of keep that in mind, that if you're going to start a project on Canva, just make sure you kind of have an idea of what your project is going to look like. The other cool things about Canva is that there's the undo, redo buttons. So if you made a mistake, you could just do a quick undo on there. And then if I do elements, again, there's other kinds of stuff on here. All I have to do is just do the back arrow, and I could search for different kinds of things. Text gives me the chance to add my own text or additional text boxes. And you can see that there's all kinds of like suggestions here. Again, some of these have the little crown icon there. All right, I'm going to do a brand new project here. So I'm going to press the home button here on the left corner. And here's, again, Canva's offering new suggestions. And my recent design is here of the tiger. And then I could just do 3 dots, and then I can make a duplicate if I want to. Or I could just download it from here, or I could just trash it. So I could just send it to the trash if I don't want it anymore. I see that there is a question on the chat, so let me see, I'll take a quick look at it. Yeah, so the question on the chat is, can you change the shape of a photo like you did in Google? Yes, and that's primarily due to that feature called frames. So if I go back to my project, you would kind of want to just do it from there. So again, if you do elements and search, and it's frames, and these are the shapes that they give you. And some of them are really like unusual looking, some of them are really fun looking, and there's a lot of them. So you can see that you have your traditional shapes like triangles and kind of like a donut shape, and postcard, diamond, hash marks, letters, so all kinds of cool shapes. So again, if I choose any one of these to start off with, let's look at this one here. It's like a, let's try this one here. Just drag it, and then I can go to uploads, and then just drag the photo into that frame, and you can see that it kind of locks it in place. Now, if I'm not happy with the way the tiger is positioned, I could also click on the tiger, and I could just move it a little bit and move him a little to the left or to the right. And then I could press done. I could also do edit image. It gives me the chance to choose any filters, and kind of similar to like Instagram, you could see like there's like a blurry look or like a faded look. See, it kind of gives it like different appearances. I'm just kind of playing with these here a little bit. But that's how you would do it, is that you would get the elements, and then you would go to frames, and then you could choose any one of these. And again, if you're not happy with it, you could just do a delete or a backspace, and then just do that again, and that's gone. Okay, so let me do a new project here. I'm gonna do like a little birthday card for my friend. And so I'll just do create a design. I'll do a Instagram post again. There's a whole bunch of different types of projects you could choose from. So this time I'm going to leave it blank. I'm going to start from scratch. If you are going to use one of these templates, I strongly suggest you really make it your own. Just really give it your own unique look to it. You will see that the templates change over time. So like when it's Halloween time, you're going to see Halloween. When it's Mother's Day, you're going to see stuff about Mother's Day. But I'm going to start off from scratch. And I'm going to go to text. And I'm going to do the add a heading. And I'm just going to say, you know, happy birthday. And I'm going to do the drop down. And again, here's where you could see all your different kinds of font styles. The ones with the crown, again, are not free. So I'll just do permanent marker. So I'll just do marker. There we go. Kind of like that marker look. And then I'll do, I like this glow one. So I'll do the glow. And I'm going to type the name of my friend. And it's really big, so I'm just going to make it small. I'm going to go to the font size, and if you end up doing stuff like this on your phone, just make sure you would want to get like a stylus pen. It's a lot easier because other than that, you're using your finger, and it's really hard to manipulate this project. Okay, so we have happy birthday, Jennifer. And Jennifer went to the University of Washington, and in Washington, there's like this really unique looking purple. So I'm going to make sure I get a purple that matches that University of Washington. But first, I'm going to go to elements, and I'm just going to type, let's just type wolf. And then I get all kinds of like pictures or graphics of wolf. I'm going to do, there's all kinds of photos. I'll just do this one here, I guess. I don't know, I'm trying to find something that looks kind of gentle, not so mean. There we go, this one here. So I guess shout out to anyone who's from UConn. You can also get the UConn colors too if you want. If I do background, I could just choose any color I want. So I'm just gonna choose, I don't know, blue for now. Okay, there we go. And I want to change the way the wolf looks a little bit. Right now it has this grayish color, and I want to have him get that purple from the University of Washington. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look up hex code. So like hex code, which is spelled HEX code, and then University of Washington, or you could do like whatever like branding you're kind of trying to look for, especially if your company has a special tone of color. You can look that up. And the code is a mixture of numbers and letters. So you can see that this code for purple is 4B2E83. So I'm just going to copy that. And I'm going to go back to my Jennifer project. And I'm going to click on this gray color, this dark gray. And then I'm going to do add. So this is where you can add your own color scheme. So like if you're doing something for your company, you could do a certain orange, a certain blue, all kinds of colors you can put. So I'm going to do that. Just going to close this out. Actually, I'm going to go up here, excuse me, the add a new color, I'll go there. And you can see that there's a code there. I'll do paste. There we go. Let's close this out. There we go. So now you can see that the wolf has that purple that's from the University of Washington. And if I want to, I'm still in the background here. So if I go to background, it's still blue. So if I want to, I could see if I could change that layout. So if I go back over here, there's special gold color, and it's this color here. There's gold, and then there's metallic gold. So I'll just do that. I'll do metallic gold. And go to the paint bucket, the little painter's palette, excuse me, plus, and then do Control V or Command V to paste. There we go. And now we have the metallic gold. And the pink, it looks kind of off a little bit. So I'm going to go to the little A here and choose that purple. There we go. And now I'm going to choose some stars and hearts to put around my project here. And then I can go to elements, and then I could just type star. And then you could choose any of these stars here. I'm going to choose this one here and just making it smaller. And it's this grayish color right now. So I could just do that purple again. And then I could rotate it a little bit by using that little tool down here that looks like two double-sided arrows. And then I can move it over. And I like to have my my projects a little like off screen a little bit. So you can see that the star is kind of like outside of the project. And to copy and paste, I can Control C, Control V, and make it a little bit smaller. And just put it over here. And then Control V again. And we'll just rotate it. There we go. And, it's just like a fun little project. I would probably work on this a little bit more if I was going to send this over to Jennifer, but that's how you could kind of get specific colors on here. Is if you click on a project, you click on a color, you can do add, and then you could just type in the code. If you do not know the code, you can use like an eyedropper tool. You can like kind of Google that, like an eyedropper tool, and then you can put that on your project, and then you'll get the right kind of hex code with that. Going to stop sharing. What are some questions or comments that you may have before we wrap on up? Okay, so the question is, how did I choose to change just the fur color of the wolf? So yeah, it's just a matter of just kind of clicking on that color you want to change. So let me go back to that and I'll show you, do a quick recap of that. So if you see how the wolf has like a little purple, when I click on the wolf icon, these are all the colors associated with the wolf. So the black for the eyes and the nose, the gray for the part of its fur, whiskers, the pink for the ears, the red for the tongue. And then before there was like a dark gray, and that's how I decided to change it. Now, if I wanted to change the part of the whiskers, for example, or the ears, I could just click on the corresponding color. And then from there, I could choose any one of these colors. These are like the default colors, or I could just add a new color there. So if I want to do the metallic gold for the ears, I could just do that. And that's how I decided to change it. And then like the question was, when I click, is there a way to blur layers if you have a small photo over a large one? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really tried that. But if you go over to the three dots, there's all kinds of tools you can do. There's also something called transparency. So transparency kind of helps it. You can kind of like fade things out a little bit. And then you can also do edit image. And then you can also kind of experiment here a little bit. So you can see that there's all kinds of tools that you can kind of experiment with, but that's about it in terms of photo manipulation on there. Some of the woofs, like I saw a question or comment that some of the woofs like won't be able to change color. It just depends on which one you choose. If you chose this one with a little happy face on it, that one is the one that does change. But if you go back to elements and go again to woof, some of these probably won't be able to change in appearance. They're kind of like locked in place. I can't think of any in this particular moment, but I chose the ones that like this one looks like does not give me the chance to change the color. So I could edit it. I can make it darker or brighter, but this particular graphic with the red-eyed wolf does not give me the chance to edit it. All right, let me show you our slides here that you'll get a copy of. So you're gonna get a copy of these slides. They have all kinds of tips on here, just kind of like definitions. You're gonna, we talk about the hex code. Looks like the Yukon Blue this is the code for the Yukon Blue. And there's this cool app that you can also download on your phone. It's called Snapseed, and it's through Google. It's totally free. You can edit your photos. You can make things darker, brighter. You can blur things out, and you don't need to do a lot more than that. And you can save the photos, and then you could put them on Instagram or on Canva. And then other tools that you can also use for just kind of design tools. Darien has access to the Adobe suite that you can access on site. And here are some other tools that you can use as well. Whenever I'm working with a project though, I always like to kind of draw things out, maybe like on paper. I usually don't do this kind of freestyle thing. Today was just more of a demonstration. I'm a little bit more thoughtful in terms of my approach. I really want to make sure my colors don't clash or anything like that. So before you start, just sketch, do a little brainstorm, make sure you know your measurements, and make sure you have all your text, all your graphics, all your logos, things like that for your project beforehand, rather than starting and then having to look for everything. Just you want to make sure those things are ready for you. And I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you so much for being here.